You feel that, Sony? You know what that feels like, PlayStation? That's a £7.5 billion sucker punch. Hello and welcome to the BA News Show, your weekly news show every Friday at 5 PM with your hosts, me, I'm Rich, and... I'm just on my own this week. Tabz is away, and there's no jokes this week. Tabz is genuinely away and won't be joining. So you've just got to put it with me this week. So as we always do, what have I been playing this week? I haven't had that much time to game this week, unfortunately. So I've done a little bit of Monster Hunter, trying to catch up because Tabz has motored on a little bit on Iceborne without me. And I've also been cracking away with Tony Hawk's, which I'm absolutely loving. If you like the original games on wherever they're on, PlayStation, Dreamcast, wherever you played them on, and you feel that nostalgia towards it, definitely go and play them because they've done such a good job with that. So yes, definitely go and play that. Anyway, let's get into the news with what is a sort of monumental week, I would say, in some respects, in the news this week. So what has been happening? We've got a few stories for you this week, and I'm going to start with the monster story that came out a few days ago, probably 3 or 4 days ago now. Bethesda's Sea of Change. Well, what's happened, you might be asking. So in a monumental acquisition that shakes up the gaming landscape, Microsoft has announced it will acquire Zenimax Media, the parent company of Bethesda, ID Software, Arcane Studios, Machine Games, Tango Games Work, and more for the colossal sum of money that is £7.5 billion. And just to put that into context, Disney, I believe, acquired the total rights for Star Wars for $4 billion. So that just gives you an idea of the scale of $7.5 billion. And obviously that in buying them, they've got a list of franchises that are well renowned from those studios that includes Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Dishonored, Wolfenstein, Prey, Rage, The Evil Within, Quake, and the upcoming Starfield. These are all now under the Microsoft Xbox umbrella. That piece of information came from Eurogamer. So yeah, this is very interesting, a massive move. I think one that was sort of talked about for a while. I don't think anyone really ever thought this was going to happen, but it has happened. What this means moving forward, it's hard to say. Let's just get into a bit more of this. Microsoft isn't averse to buying up developers and publishers. They've done it before. It noted that one of its key weaknesses in the Xbox One/PS4 generation fight was its lack of exclusives. So in recent years, it's also bought up the likes of Double Fine, which do Psychonauts, Obsidian, The Outer Worlds, and Ninja Theory, which make Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. So there is credence for this. They've done that before, so it's just Bethesda being probably one of the world's biggest gaming studios, or umbrella of studios, that is Zenimax Media. It's surprising that they've gone all in on this. So what does this mean going forwards? The established PS5 timed exclusive for Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo will not be changed by this acquisition. And yes, it does technically mean that Microsoft will be publishing 2 timed exclusives on the PS5, which is very strange, but I guess those contracts were already in place, so they've had to honour those even though they've bought the company out. Beyond these, the rest of Bethesda's upcoming games, such as the next Elder Scrolls, will launch on Xbox and PC, and they've basically come out with this quote saying other consoles will be taken on a case-by-case basis, and that was literally told to Eurogamer by Phil Spencer himself. So that might mean if it's a big game that they think they've got a lot of money invested in, and they think it needs to go cross-platform, then that's what they'll do. My guess is we're going to see more and more exclusives on the Xbox because of this. Otherwise, why would you do this? But it's interesting to note something that Phil Spencer said last summer about exclusivity, which sort of bucks that trend that they've just done about this. So Phil Spencer said last summer to gi.biz, "As a player, you are the centre of our strategy. Our device is not the centre of our strategy. Our game is not the centre of our strategy. We want to enable you to play the games you want to play with the friends you want to play with on any device. On a TV, the Xbox console is going to be the best way to play console games." He added, I find it completely counter to what gaming is about to say that part of that is to lock people away from being able to experience those games, or to force someone to buy my specific device on the day that I want them to go and buy it in order to partake in what gaming is all about. So in this sort of news from last summer, he was saying, or this quotation from last summer, he was saying that actually exclusivity is not what Microsoft are all about. So maybe that suggests that they aren't going to suddenly make all of these titles exclusive to Xbox, and any of you PlayStation fans out there will be hoping that that's the case. I mean, my take on this is, unfortunately, as always with these stories, it affects gamers. You know, gamers going to miss out. People, though all of the games that this Zenimax Media, for the most part, there are exceptions, would have come out cross-platform, both on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, so everyone was able to enjoy them and delve into them. But with this news, is that going to see most likely some gamers sort of cut out of the loop? And again, gamers are experiencing bad times and the worst of this scenario because of this takeover. Who knows? We don't know. Tabz feels extremely strongly about this and is very worried about what this is going to be moving forwards. And he actually sent me a statement that he would like me to read, which is his take on this basically. And this is in his writing. I'm just going to read it out. Now, admittedly, a lot remains to be seen, so we shouldn't jump to any hasty conclusions. But something just doesn't sit right with me about this. I'll make the analogy of the football team that nurtures their talent over time, makes consistently sound, small-scale business decisions, and earns their place in the big leagues over time through blood, sweat, tears, and patience. You can respect that, admire it even. What's much harder to respect is the team that acquires a wealthy owner and goes on talent buying spree to purchase their way into the big leagues, practically overnight. It doesn't feel like the world should work that way. It sends a problematic message and can disenfranchise those of us who embrace the struggles for success via merit, determination, and hard work alone. But let's leave aside the moral issue. I understand business is business, and as long as it's legal, then it's considered fair. But there are other implications here that threaten to terraform the gaming landscape, leaving gamers to foot the bill. If Microsoft decide to push aggressively into exclusivity, then the large-scale acquisition could cause a huge amount of displacement of treasured IP. Fans who enjoy the likes of Doom, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, etc. on their console of choice for many years now may now be strong-armed into buying into the Xbox habitat, as well as forking out for their platform or platforms of choice. Given the success of the PlayStation, that potentially a massive amount of gamers. Some of those gamers will no doubt struggle to absorb the financial burden that this imposes. And I've heard the whole butthurt Sony fans outcries, cheer up, it's great for the industry. But just imagine Sony going out and buying Konami or Rockstar tomorrow and locking away their treasured IP behind the PlayStation platform, forcing Xbox fans to buy into the PS5 to play the likes of GTA, or let's pretend, Metal Gear Solid. I'm pretty sure the same concerns will be shared. Rapid and enforced displacement among gamers everywhere isn't cool in any context. And it all sits in the front of a public brand and persona which has been opposing platform exclusivity in recent times. Phil Spencer, and by extension Microsoft, have been courting the image of Mr. Nice Guy of video games for some time now, which I absolutely appreciate. Cross-gen is great. It's all about accessibility, not exclusivity. I mean, very recently, Microsoft publicly condemned Apple for anti-consumer practices when they blocked the Project xCloud beta from launching on iOS. The accusation being they were essentially locking out iOS customers from enjoying Game Pass. Well, that persona would look laughably duplicitous if Microsoft do decide to push into Bethesda and co exclusivity. They might very well be locking out a shitload of gamers out of their favourite IPs. Not exactly the most integrity-driven business decision if they do decide to push on in that direction. And surely they want something for their $7.5 billion. And don't get me started on media consolidation and the future threat of monopolies and monolith corporate structures. So that's what Tabz had to say on it, so he wasn't best chuffed at all. I don't know, we need to watch this one, we need to see what happens. There's nothing saying that they won't continue to just, be as they were, cross-generation platforms. I think there's every possibility that Microsoft will move into exclusivity with lots of their games coming from these people, but we will have to see what happens in the future. And I don't think we're going to hear much on anything, for probably 6 months, because as far as I'm aware, there's nothing new coming down the line other than the previously mentioned PS5 times exclusives that are in the works that we're going to hear about short term. But moving on, Metal Gear Solid Remake? Please let this be true. Here's a doozy of a rumour for you. Metal Gear Solid, the PS1 classic, is being remade again, and it's coming to PS5 and PC. This is according to YouTube channel Red Gaming Tech, which has been known to provide some accurate leaks in the past, although they specialise in hardware information rather than software. Still, according to their source, a source that apparently has a 100% track record up to this point, that supposedly Metal Gear Solid Revival is a full remake, not just some kind of port or remaster. The source also states that Metal Gear Solid 2, 3 and 4 are all being re-released, but it sounds like they're going to get more of a remaster than a full remake, and it's unclear whether they're coming to the PS5 as well, or they're just targeting the PC, and that comes from Pushbear. Now this is very interesting, and I really do hope this is absolutely true, because I think that is an absolute classic. The original Metal Gear Solid, although it has been remade, I think at least once already, but a full remake on PS5 using haptic feedback as part of the controls, I'm really on board with that. The only thing I would say is I feel like a remake wouldn't feel right if Kojima wasn't involved in some way. So, and I'm guessing he won't be, since he's fell out of favour with Konami. So I really hope this is true, but I think we need to hold fire. Keep our powder dry, as I would say, and see what comes down the line on this. So wait on that one with bated breath. Moving on. Xbox pre-orders were almost as bad as the PS5, and that's saying something. Fans were hoping to get pre-orders of the Xbox Series X and S this week, a couple of days ago now, and they were left heartbroken across the board because of errors. The messy Preorder echoed last week's rocky PlayStation 5 launch, with left players scrambling for the consoles after a surprise drop at retailers, and it sold out in minutes across the board. Microsoft teased Sony about this debacle in a tweet, promising fans that they would get a heads up of the Xbox pre-orders were live. And despite this more organised approach, however, it was no easier to secure a next-gen Xbox. While some had hoped that things would go more smoothly on the Microsoft own official website, that unfortunately was not the case. And as of 8 AM Pacific time rolled around, the site immediately was hit with errors that made getting an Xbox near impossible. So it sounds like, much like the PS5, there's going to be lots of people out there that haven't managed to get an Xbox, which is a great shame. I think I've seen something today, which I was going to come on to in everything else, that more units are on their way, so stay tuned. If you haven't managed to get an Xbox and you're still up for getting one, there are some around the corner, so stay tuned for that. And let us know, have you managed to get one? If you have, are you excited about it? What games are you excited to play? So let's move on to everything else. So we're going to start with PS5. I've just read a report that new stocks are on the way for the PS5. They're going to drop hopefully this morning, this Friday. So hopefully anyone that's missed out has managed to at least secure one then. 8 AM I'm hearing, but again, it might be that they've gone at midnight again, which hopefully, if they have, people have managed to get one who hadn't got one in the first wave. Let us know if you've managed to get one that you couldn't get one before. One interesting thing about the Xbox Series X and Series S sales pre-orders, which went live a few days ago, is I think there's been some confusion with people on what the next-gen console is called. And because of that, Xbox One X sales were up nearly 750%. So I'm guessing there's some parents out there that their kids have maybe said, oh, I really want an Xbox Series X, and they've gone on and seen Xbox One X and they've bought them that possibly. So we don't know what's happened there, but yeah, some confusion. Earlier on this week, Kirby Fighters 2 was leaked online, but subsequently, a few days after this, Nintendo actually officially announced it in the way of a trailer, and have since released it on the Nintendo eStore. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, go to there now. Spider-Man Remastered for the PS5 won't be getting a free upgrade for owners of the original PS4 game, Sony has confirmed. And on that note, just be aware if you are a PS4 Spider-Man PS4 owner and you've got a save, you won't be able to use that save file on the PS5 version. So you'll just be starting from scratch if you're choosing to do that game again. And on that, I think me and Tabz have been discussing the last few days about with the Spider-Man. Now it appears that only the Spider-Man, is it the collector's edition? Basically the slightly more expensive one that's $69.99 includes the remastered PS4 game. The standard edition, which I believe is $52.99, this is from Amazon, doesn't include that. So I guess that's a toss-up. If you've had the PS4 version like Tabz did, he's just going to get the standard edition. I didn't have the original Spider-Man, so I'm going to go for the more expensive version so that I can get the remastered version. So yeah, you have to make a choice on that one, whether you've got that or not. And on the back of Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda this week, there's rumours all over the place that potentially Microsoft are now lining up to purchase Sega. Now, I don't know how true this is. There's some very strange rumours and tweets going out and going around that sort of point to this. There's some people have pulled up some pictures from lots of people who work for Microsoft's. I think they're pictures that they've posted on their social medias, and there's nods to Sega in all these pictures. It's a bit of a strange one. I don't know whether this is true. Microsoft have not said that they're not purchasing another gaming studio. All they have said is they're not going to announce anything at their Tokyo Games show coverage, which I think happens either tonight or tomorrow. So yeah, we'll have to watch this one carefully over the next few days. I'm not sure whether this is going to happen. And on the back of that, Microsoft has claimed that they have record-breaking demand for Xbox Series X and Series X. And we're wondering whether this could have been spurred on by the Bethesda news. But interestingly, Xbox Game Pass subscribers now tops 15 million. So it's possible that people have got onto the Xbox Game Pass because it's just an absolute bargain and gone, well, actually, I'll have a next-gen console to go with that as well. So that will be very interesting. And we leave this week with, finally, Cyberpunk 2077 story will be slightly shorter than The Witcher 3. I'm sure Tabz is pleased about that. Following complaints from players that The Witcher 3 was too long. And there we have it. That is all the news from what has been a monumental week of news. Hopefully we can have much more positive news about, people actually managing to pre-order next-gen consoles. Hopefully we won't have more debacle about with the latest batch of pre-orders coming out. And I think that's everything I've got to tell you this week. I hope you've enjoyed the news. If you have, definitely drop it a like. That helps to grow and support the channel. If you're new here, do subscribe, join our community of Binary Arcadia. We'd love to have you on board. And I think that's all we've got time for. Another one for the archive. Stamped and completed.